Well, Danny, first of all, what was Christmas with the Cowleys like? It must have been slightly different not having that Boxing Day game this year.
Yeah, very different. Christmas is not quite the same without football, and we were particularly disappointed not to have any of our own football this Christmas period. Felt really sorry for our players who had obviously prepared, our supporters who I know would have loved to have been at Fratton Park on Boxing Day. Nicky and I did manage to get out on Boxing Day and go to watch a game. We went to Cheltenham and watched Cheltenham versus Plymouth, which gave us our football fix, but it's not quite the same as preparing for your own game. So we had a lovely Christmas with our family, and I suppose one of the positives, we were able to spend a little bit more time with them, but no, definitely missed our football fix.
Yeah, as you mentioned, we lost the Boxing Day game. We lost Wimbledon as well due to COVID. What's that situation looking like in the squad at the moment?
Well, much positive, thankfully. So we believe that the group are over the worst of it. We tested them again on Boxing Day and again this morning, and we've had no new positive cases, which is a real plus. We've had the whole group back together today for the first time. We were able to get some back at the back end of last week because obviously the new restrictions and going from initially it was 10 days of self-isolation reduced down to 7 days. So no, it was good to be able to get some of them back pre-Christmas, but the majority of them back together today. We had a good session this morning. It did have its challenges because obviously we had a lot of wet weather and a lot of rain over the Christmas period. So our training pitches were particularly wet and underwater. But we've been able to get onto the grass, get some good work into the players, and now we've got everything crossed that we're able to navigate through tomorrow and then make our way down to Plymouth and play what is a very, very good Plymouth team on Wednesday evening.
Yeah, just in terms of the players who had COVID that came back, what's the recovery process like for that? Does it take a little bit longer to get back to 100% in some cases?
Yes, I think it does. I think first it depends on the severity of the symptoms. We had 2 or 3 that had quite severe symptoms and were in bed, and we had a number of others that had much milder symptoms. So there is a back to play protocol that we're following. It has meant that there's been an awful lot of planning. We had to make every player's training program completely individualized and bespoke. Last week we had some that were able to train with the whole group. We had others that had to train individually. But yeah, with a lot of hard work and a lot of planning, we've been able to navigate through the period and give each player exactly what they needed. For us, we were desperately disappointed to lose the Wimbledon game and the Oxford game, because obviously we've been in really good form, 9 unbeaten in the league. And whenever you've got a rhythm and a fluency, you don't want you want to be able to maintain and keep that. I think for us, we always try to see the positive, and the positive has been that we've been able to freshen up some physically and mentally, obviously because of the injuries that we've had all season. Really, we've overused the players that have been fit. So it has given us an opportunity to freshen some up. And very much for us, we try to see the positives rather than the negatives. And we're now really focused and really motivated to be able to find our rhythm again and find our best performance on Wednesday evening at Plymouth.
And in terms of some of those players who have been out, not through COVID, but through the longer term injuries, any positive news in that regard in being able to bring any of them back?
Yeah, well, I think that has been another positive, that there's been 2 games that have been postponed that those longer term injuries would have missed. Now there is a chance that when those games get rescheduled in the new year, that those players may be available. And for us, we've had Louis Thompson, Ryan Tunnicliffe and Clark Robertson all back training today and back on the grass. And particularly for Ryan and Clark, who have been longer term injuries, it's felt like new signings. So that's been a real positive, and certainly given everybody within the group a real lift.
Let's talk about Plymouth then. What were your thoughts when you saw them on Boxing Day?
Well, I've actually had the opportunity to watch them live twice, because I went to see them at Plymouth against Charlton on the Saturday before Christmas. And then Nicky and I went to Cheltenham yesterday and watched them play, and just been incredibly impressed. Obviously, a new manager since the last time that we played them, and with Ryan Lowe going to Preston. No surprise that they decided to make a smooth transition with Stephen Schumacher, and that's seen him step up from assistant manager to manager. And yeah, we've seen their team go from strength to strength in that process. I think there's a lot to like. They've got a group of players that are a really good fit, that really complement each other. A lot of round pegs in round holes. A lot of players that suit the system and suit the style of play. We know that they carry a huge threat on the counter attack. Their attacking transition is very, very fluid. We also know that they carry real athleticism at the top end of the pitch, and it's no surprise to me that we see a Plymouth team right at the top of this division. We know that we're going to have to be at our very, very best if we're going to get on the right side of the result come Wednesday.
And of course, the fans, they'll have gone the Christmas period without football, so they'll be itching to get there as well to home park.
Well, we hope so. We hope so. We really appreciate all of the support that we've had this year. Both at Fratton Park and some of the away support have just been incredible. And the way that they've carried the team and drove the energy and intensity in the team. I think the supporters now know how we want to play. We want to play this fast attacking style. I think they're respectful of the amount of energy and intensity that the players need to bring on a game-to-game basis. And yeah, they've really been able to drive that from the terraces. So we're really appreciative of all the support that we get. We're hoping that maybe a few more find their way to Plymouth on Wednesday to get their football fix. And we're going to need them, because when I went to watch Plymouth against Charlton last Saturday, it's a ground where there's a lot of synergy in the stadium. There's a lot of connection between their players and their supporters, and we're going to need our support to be at their very best to try to level that for us and give us a good way into the game.